Right, we're supposed to be talking about a movie today, I think.
We are! Hi,
Hey,
everyone! Welcome to another episode of We Don't Watch Movies, We Watch Sailor Moon Instead, featuring me, Corinne.
And me, Monze, Sailor Monze.
Oh, that sounds so good. Sailor Monze? Oh, it's so good. It's so perfect. Because it sounds like Sailor Moon, but it's Monze.
And I'm better than Sailor Moon.
Yeah, I know you're better than Sailor Moon.
Because I don't get bad grades, I don't wake up late, but I also don't have a hot boyfriend, so I
guess so who's the real loser?
So in the end, I am the fool.
Oh, Darian. Darian!
Super stupid tuxedo mask. Anyway, today we're talking not about Sailor Moon, although, as you can see, we can talk about Sailor Moon all day, all night, 24/7.
Yeah.
We're talking about Rocky.
Do-do-do! Do-do-do!
Yeah, like one of us is gonna like end up singing the
da-da-da! Da-da-da-da-da-da! Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba! Bow! Okay, yeah. I modulated the key at the end.
Beautiful. It was chef's kiss.
Thank you.
Yeah, so neither of us have seen Rocky.
Nope.
Corinne, why haven't you seen Rocky?
You know, I thought about this.
There were nights where I laid in bed and thought, why haven't I seen Rocky?
I know we're joking, but like actually.
I'll see Curry.
Okay, so
2 a.m. Monze, why haven't I seen it? Why haven't I seen Rocky?
You know,
I've been thinking maybe
I should watch Rocky. I must have said to somebody, I should watch Rocky. Like, I swear to God, I've said that at some point in my life. I think for a while I was just too young. But I knew about a movie called Rocky in middle school, specifically that Rocky goes, Adrian, because we had a girl who was really mean to me. Yeah, there was a girl I didn't like because she was really mean to me in middle school named Adrian, and our 7th grade English teacher would be like, have you ever seen Rocky? There's like a character in Rocky named Adrian. He'd always be like, Adrian! So like they'd make that joke all the time. So I was like, okay, in Rocky there's a person named Adrian. And then
they scream their name.
Yeah, and then later like they mentioned like boxing, and I kept seeing all these references as I got older, and I heard like the theme music and like Eye of the Tiger and all that. And then yeah. And then in the storyboarding class I took last year, we had to watch a clip from Rocky, and they kept talking about how great of a movie Rocky is and everything. And then I'm like, I should watch it, and then I just didn't because I was like, I don't know if I want to watch it after the scene that I watched. So, and then like it's popped up again on my Twitter of them talking about Rocky, and I was like, should I watch Rocky? And then you were like, Corinne, have you seen it? And I was like, no. And I was like, perfect. So I just never got around to watching Rocky. Like I feel I'm like there's like 4 Rockies, and then Apollo, and it's like I know like does he win? I don't know, but he keeps boxing, so
I know he loses in the first one.
Oh yeah. All right, Monze. Why haven't you seen Rocky?
I'm not really into sports movies.
Oh, I guess it would technically be a sports movie.
It's a whole movie about a boxer. I don't think technically it's a sports movie. It is a sports movie.
It's so much more than boxing, Monze.
It's about life.
It's about passion, love.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just not into sports movies. I don't know. I know that he loses at the end of this movie. Mm-hmm. I know that he climbs. He has a whole montage, and he climbs those steps. And at the end, he's like, "Yeah!" And you're just like, "You did it, Rocky. You did it."
You're the eye of the tiger, Rocky.
Eye of the tiger is.
Beauty is in the eye of the tiger.
I guess, because Stallone is not beautiful by any means. So yeah, I guess it's like it never really. My mom and my uncle they always talk about like, no, I guess it's more my uncle be like, oh yeah, Rocky's so good. There used to be like 3 channels on the TV, and we would all sit down and watch Rocky on the TV when it came out. You know, it was like, okay.
Yeah. It was
You
one
know.
of those movies. Like,
Mm-hmm.
everyone knows it. Everyone talks about it.
Yeah, but I've never like sat down and watched it. So
Yeah.
I'm kind of excited to like get like the whole story aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
The other day I was looking through HBO Max and it was on there. I was like, should I watch Rocky? I was like, no, I don't want to watch it because I'm pretty sure Corinne hasn't seen it. And we can just talk about it, and then I can watch it.
Yeah, there you go.
You want to get out? Okay, I'll let you out. Give me a second. He changed his mind. He chose out.
Yeah, he's like the Rum Tum Tugger.
Okay.
I rewatched Cats recently.
The musical?
Yeah, the movie.
2019
masterpiece.
Cinematic masterpiece, Cats.
Yes.
Starring so many people.
Jason Derulo.
Jason Derulo.
Have you seen Cats, Monze?
I haven't.
That's gonna be my movie.
Is it gonna be? Okay.
It's gonna be my movie.
I listened to a whole podcast about how bad it is, and I'm just like,
it's so good. It's so great.
it really kind of makes me wish that there is like a butthole version of the movie. Speaking of buttholes, they discovered a perfectly like fossilized dinosaur butthole. Hold on. Let me read you a scientist quote.
I thought they had cloacas, not buttholes.
Yeah, cloacas. That's what they're called.
Yeah, we
they call it like they just called it like a butthole, which is like easier to. George, you chose out. You chose out.
Tugger is.
You chose out, you little chick. Here we go. This fossilized butthole gives us a rare window into dinosaur sex.
Ah!
First preserved dinosaur butthole is perfect and unique, paleontologist says. Yeah, scientists have described a dinosaur's butthole in exquisite detail. just Google fossilized butthole, like fossilized dinosaur butthole, and you'll find it. But yeah, cloaca, whatever they're called. Cloaca, yeah, anyway. But we're not here to talk about dinosaur buttholes.
I wish we were here to talk about it.
We're here to talk about
Rocky.
Yeah. So, okay, so Corinne, what do you think this movie is about? Do you...
Sorry. I think it's about some guy named Rocky Balboa, down on his luck and out of money, did boxing in high school, see some local competition. It's like an open thing. Apollo, what's his face? Apollo Creed?
Yeah.
Apollo Creed. Yeah. Is like, I'm challenging anybody to go boxing against me. And
anyone can go boxing against
anyone can box against me.
Sports.
And there's like
so good at it.
There's like a reward or something. And Rocky's like, I need the money, so I'm gonna go do it. And then he gets like a trainer, and it's just the movie Hercules. But like,
from zero to hero. From zero to hero.
Just like that. Yeah.
Hercules a hero. Yes, indeed.
It's just the movie Hercules, but live action, and there's no Olympian gods. But there is questionable consent. Which is the scene that I watched. And he like falls in love with some girl who works at a pet store. And there's like a scene where he's got turtles and he's like awkwardly trying to like flirt with her, but he's just an awkward man. And I don't know, he trains, he seems to do okay. I think he wins one fight, but then he loses the last fight, like you were saying. But it doesn't matter because Adrian came out to see him. He's like, you Adrian! And they fall in love. And then it makes way for the sequel where it's married life and he has to get back into boxing again for some reason. So it's just some like underdog story
Mm-hmm.
featuring a white man. So yeah, or an Italian.
I'm Italiano.
An Italian.
You forgot the most important part.
The theme
It takes
song.
place in Philly.
Philadelphia.
Born and raised.
Someone,
Wasn't born and raised. She was something about grandma or something like that.
there's like a motivational speaker that came to my high school, and because I never watched like sitcoms growing up, I didn't know
Jesus
anything about the
Christ.
Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. So this motivational speaker came to our high school and started saying like the opening line, and then everyone in the auditorium recited the rest of it, and I was sitting there like,
What weird
what is
cult
happening?
is this?
I don't know what's happening. I feel like I should know the words, but I have no idea what this song. They're like the Fresh Prince, and I'm like, I don't know what that is. So yeah, and the guy was like, if you can memorize all that, you can memorize like something else.
You can memorize something else. I wasn't paying attention. I only cared about.
I just specifically remember just sitting there like, all of my friends know this. Everyone knows this. The popular kids and the nerds know this. I have no idea what they're reciting. So,
What is this? Okay.
yeah, that's what I think the movie's about.
Okay.
He punches like meat in a cooler.
Does he do that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Yeah, okay. So, what do I think? Thanks for asking. That's a great question. I think it's about some guy. Like, maybe his dream was always to be, like, a professional boxer. But life got in the way. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe he dropped out of high school. He had to work some jobs. His father died. He had to, do all that kind of stuff. And but he always dreamed deep down inside that he would become, a great amazing boxer.
Yeah.
And then I don't know, maybe he gets into like a bar fight or something,
Ooh.
And I know nothing about this movie, so maybe he gets into like a bar fight. And if I were to write Rocky, this is what would happen. He get into a bar fight, and he like beats up like these chums. Maybe they're like messing with some woman, or maybe they're just being drunk and rowdy. And he like beats him up, but he's got like a great punch. And some guy who's there, he's like a manager or something, and he's also down on his luck. And he's like, "Hey kid, you got talent." And he's like, "You think I got talent?" And
You're so loud.
You really think I got talent? And he's like, "Hey, I'm a boxer. You could be a boxer. I'll manage you. I'll manage your career." And Stone's just like, "I don't know." And so anyway, he's like, "Keep my car. Call me if you're interested." And then we can make some big money or whatever. And then Rocky is like, "All right, whatever." But he goes home and something happens. I don't know. Maybe his kid gets sick, or maybe his wife needs surgery. Adrian! And and he's like, you know what? You know what's a good way to make some quick money is since I'll pick up boxing, right? So he calls the guy and he's like, "Hey, this is easy, right?" And maybe he like fixes his fights or something. I don't know. But he is like making some quick money, and he's like rising up the ranks to like amateur boxing. And maybe there's this other guy, right, Apollo Creed, who starts hearing about this Rocky fella, and he's like, "Oh, you think you're some hot stuff?" Whatever. And so then the manager, what? I don't know. Are you singing hot stuff like Donna Summer?
Yeah,
we got some hot stuff.
That's exactly what I'm doing.
I know you so well. And where was I?
He thinks he's hot stuff. Apollo Creed wants to fight him.
Yeah, Apollo Creed, and the manager's like, "Oh, hey, what if you fight Apollo Creed, right? If you win, you'll make some big bank or whatever." And he's like, "I don't know about it," but Adrian is still like dying. He's like, "Adrian." So um, she's like, all right, I'll fight him. And then he finds out that like all those other fights were like rigged. And so then he's like, hey, you messed. He's like, whatever, right? And the manager has like bet against him. Right, and he's bet on Apollo. So then he finds like someone else, maybe an old friend, who like will be his trainer and have a big training montage. He's like, I'm totally ready for this. Anyway, he goes into the fight, and maybe his wife is like, don't do it, Rocky. I'm dying, but don't do it. And
I'm dying, but don't
do it. Like it's not worth it, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I gotta do it. He's like, I'm gonna beat him. Or maybe he's just like, you know what? It doesn't even matter if I don't beat him. But at least I tried, right?
Of it.
It's the principle of the matter, right? Yeah. It's about his integrity and not about his wife needing a new spleen or something. So then, so then they go up to fight, and of course he loses, but it didn't matter because he stood his ground and he showed the world that he could have been a contender. Different movie, but and that's Rocky according to me.
Okay, all right, let's find.
I have a trailer.
Did
you find it?
No, I didn't.
I can just give it to you. Okay.
You're the prepared one amongst us.
Shocking. Let me know when to press play.
Okay, press play.
Okay. Oh my god, he's such a baby. Look at his nose.
I know.
Star of a new film called Rocky.
I was like, this music sounds like it's gonna be the Rocky theme, but it is.
Talented.
He's tough. Handsome.
Dynamic.
What?
I saw that scene where he's in the apartment. Look at the doggy!
Hero and Brando. But he is Rocky. He's the man who could be loved by only one woman because somehow she gets
Adrian!
He's
Yeah.
every nobody who
I don't want to see them hardcore make out like
This
this.
is like a really long kissing. Oh, here we go.
Rocky. I do not believe that. Maybe Rocky does.
So they don't work
Yeah. Uh-oh. Oh my goodness.
He's every man who ever settled for something less.
What about my pride, Nick? At least you have pride. Hey, that's no pride.
There we go. Pride. I like
He
his
is
started though.
very young.
Terrific. I mean, you could be a heartbreak. You walk down the street breaking hearts.
Terrific. Could be a heartbreak.
He's the man who never had a chance.
See, he's punching the meat in the cooler.
Oh yeah, he is.
His whole life was 1,000,000 to 1 shot.
Carl Weathers.
Whole life was 1,000,000 to 1 shot.
Isn't
Yeah,
that
Carl
Sylvester
Weathers is Apollo
Stallone?
Creed.
Yeah.
But you will always remember him as Rocky.
I like how he's jumping up and down, and the freeze frame. His terrible face. His name is Sylvester Stallone, but you will always remember him as Rocky.
This movie was made in the 70s?
Yeah, it's from '76. Why is that like?
Hold on. Muhammad Ali was like the top boxer at this time, right?
Was he?
Or like
know nothing.
before this time? Like the biggest profile boxer?
Let me see. Let me get rid of my dinosaur butthole and look up best boxers of 1970s.
He might have been most active in the 50s or 60s, but I know he was like a super high profile boxer.
You have Carlos Monzon, George Foreman, Alexis Arguello, Wilfredo Gomez, Carlos Zarate, Joe Frazier, Jose Napoles, Bob Foster. I think... Oh yeah, Muhammad Ali, George Foreman, Joe Frazier. Those were the heavyweight boxing talents.
George Foreman was a boxer?
Yeah! Why do you think he has a Foreman grill?
Oh, that's
You
who George Foreman.
You
Okay.
can't get a Foreman grill until you are a famous boxer named George Foreman.
Okay. All right. So like, I'm gonna say it. Everyone talks about Rocky being like this underdog film because Rocky's the underdog.
Mm-hmm.
But don't we find the optics odd that a movie set in the 70s about an underdog is about a white guy going up against a black guy?
It's funny because the Jules had to read this book for school. I forgot what it was called. It was really good. Anyway, I was reading it with her and obviously planning stuff. And they mention, right, like each decade there's like an underdog story, right? So like Tarzan, right, if you think about it, right, because it's like the white civilized man, right? But if you compare him to black people, quote unquote, right, that are lived in the same kind of stuff, but they turn out quote unquote savage, right?
Yeah.
And so they mention how Rocky is just like another extension of that, right? Because it's like.
All right, so I'm not just picking this out my ass.
You're not making it up.
Like...
It's definitely coded, right, in that way, in that manner. Right? To be like, we as white people are rising up out of whatever, and we're going to defeat the bad black guy, right? Like, who's coming to try to take over, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And he loses in the movie, right? But it's like, that's not the point, right? He, like, went up against it.
Yeah.
Right? And all we have to do is go up against it, and eventually we'll win, so... No, yeah, so it's definitely coded, especially during, like, the 70s. Like, most of the best boxers in the world are black, too, right? So
that's exactly what I'm saying. I'm, like, probably the most high-profile boxers was, like, I thought of immediately was Muhammad Ali, and then, like, George Foreman is one. A lot of the names you listed were, like, Hispanic names, right? Like, not a lot of white-sounding names that I'm just hearing.
Yeah, I mean, even, like, today... Well, I mean, if you look into, again, right, like, the history of boxing, like, before boxing was literally, like, white guys, and they would literally just stand there and punch each other in the face.
Yeah.
Because they didn't know any better, right? Like, they would just stand there and punch each other in the face, and it wasn't until, like, this black boxer started boxing, again, like, the early 1900s, late 1800s, I believe, right?
Yeah.
And he would dodge, and white people would be like, he's cheating because he's dodging, right? And he'd beat them because he was fighting smart, not like dumb, right?
Yeah.
Like, let's stick to
he
this
wasn't getting like concussed over and over.
standing there, right, and punching each other in the face, right? Like, he'd actually like have a strategy, like, you dodge, you punch, you find different ways, right?
Yeah.
And so like so modern boxing really stems from like black people being smarter than white people. Like,
yeah.
You know, like even like the history of the sport, right? Like if you think about it. Anyway.
It's just weird because, like, the racial politics, it would have been harder for the black people are the underdogs in America constantly, right? And it's just weird that this one, it's like, oh no, but we have a high-profile black boxer, let's switch it up and make the white guy the underdog. It's like, okay, but you always do this, and, like, historically, if you look at the greater racial politics, white people are just not the underdog in the system you guys have created for this country. You know, like, maybe on an individual level, yes, you can have these underdog stories featuring white people, but they constantly show them at, like, the freaking Karate Kid, you know. You know what I mean? It's like, it's just weird being like, what are you?
It's like, I'm actually thinking about all these things now that...
Well, just watching the like, I had thought of it actually earlier when we were talking about what we thought it would be about, and then, like, now looking at it, it's like, it's like, no wonder white people love this movie. And then, even then, it also has appeal because, like, you know, if you're a minority, you identify with the underdog story because you're marginalized. Yeah. Underdogs are marginalized. So it has wide appeal, but it still pushes the agenda of...
Yeah, the white agenda?
The white agenda.
Look, you're trying to find a different word for it.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's I'll read the synopsis. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Home to the #1 underdog fighter, Rocky Balboa. Sylvester Stallone, in case you weren't sure who he played. The date is November 25th, 1975. Rocky is fighting Spider Rico in a prize fight at a local church arena.
Spider Rico.
That's a cool name.
The
fight goes smooth through the first couple of rounds. Before beginning the next round, Rocky and Spider get up from their corners after receiving advice from their cornermen, and the fight continues. After a couple of punches, Spider grabs a hold of Rocky and headbutts him in the face. The crowd goes restless on Spider. Rocky, after recovering from the hit, goes after Spider and finishes him off. The bell rings, signaling the end of the fight, and Rocky is pronounced the winner. Rocky and Spider both leave the ring and head back to the locker room. One woman loser in the arena audience shouts at Rocky, "You're a bum!" as he leaves the ring. In the locker room, Rocky and Spider get the prize money for the fight, in which Spider Rico gets $17.80 after taxes and gym expenses. Rocky's winning prize is $40.50 after taxes and expenses. Rocky approaches and finds Spider lying on a bed where he tells Rocky that he was lucky. This is some big money.
I was gonna say, this is not a lot of money. But it was the 70s.
Yeah, $50 is what? Well, it's not even $50, $40.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably like, what, $200 maybe? Rocky walks home in the cold, seedy night through the trash-strewn streets of Frankfurt Avenue in the crime-ridden Kensington neighborhood. Oh, Jesus.
See, he's a gritty white guy.
After the fight, and arrives home to a small one-room apartment on a side street to feed his pet turtles, Cuff and Link. Oh my god, that's adorable. I hope they're really small. I hope that he, like, brings them out at parties.
They're, like, little.
And he's just like, this is Cuff and this is Link. He grabs a can of the turtle food and recites himself a line regarding the item into the mirror. Okay. He then looks at a picture of himself from his youth. He's still ugly. And then grabs some ice from the freezer and puts it on the cut that Spider gave him and lies down in his bed. The next morning, Rocky visits the local pet shop where Adrian Panino works and talks about the turtle food that he bought. Hey, this is some turtle food. What? He's got... Adrian, being shy and quiet, doesn't respond to Rocky even after he tells her a joke about the food. This guy is kind of lame.
He's super lame.
Her boss commands her to clean out the cat cages and she walks away, not paying any attention to Rocky. Rocky is walking down at the docks with a stick in his hand, whistling because he probably doesn't have a job, and out to collect money for his boss, Gazzo, a local loan shark. Okay, so he's like...
He's a door-to-door, beat-em-up loan...
Beat-em-up man, yeah.
Yeah.
He finds a man riding a forklift, and when the man sees Rocky, he drives away. Rocky I gotta go! Rocky chases him on foot when the man runs from the forklift, and Rocky catches up to him demanding Gazzo's money totaling $200, or he'll have to break one of the guy's thumbs. Jesus. He tells Rocky that he doesn't have enough money, but offers him his coat and around $130. Rocky takes the money but refuses to punish the deadbeat guy and instead gives him a warning. So he's a bad guy, but he's not that bad of a guy.
He's got a good heart.
He's got a good heart.
What would you do in his position?
He's got turtles, but also he didn't beat up that guy, so he's a good guy.
Yeah.
He tells bad jokes to...
women.
To women. A little later, Tony Gazzo and his driver/bodyguard buddy pick up Rocky on a bridge near the docks, and Rocky tells him about the man and gives Gazzo what money the deadbeat had on him. Gazzo gives Rocky $20 for his collection assignment and tells him about more collection jobs in the coming days for Gazzo's other clients. The thug buddy lets out a comment about Rocky's face as he and Gazzo get out of the car to talk in private. On the street, the calm but still angry Gazzo asks Rocky why he didn't break the man's thumb like he asked, and Rocky tries to defend himself, but Gazzo doesn't believe him. Gazzo sternly reprimands Rocky to do what he tells him to do from now on, because it is bad for Gazzo's reputation in the neighborhood. Gazzo leaves Rocky by the side of the road and gets back in his car. But he further insults Rocky by calling him a meatbag before driving away, and Rocky angrily shouts, "I should have broke your thumbs!"
Okay.
Yeah.
You really showed him.
I showed him. Later that day, Rocky goes to Mickey's gym only to find out that his locker has been rented out to the newcomer Dipper Brown, and that his stuff is now hanging on a hook on Skid Row. Mike the janitor tells Rocky about it and tells him where Mickey is. Rocky sees Mick, a 76-year-old elderly and temperamental former lightweight boxer, now a trainer, working with Dipper. Rocky goes to ask about the locker, and Mick admits that Dipper is an up-and-comer and Rocky is nothing, echoing what the woman heckler told Rocky the previous night. Mickey calls Rocky a bum. Angry and dejected, Rocky leaves the gym. Why is everyone... That seems sort of like...
This is like the beginning of the Joker movie where everyone's just shitting on what he's
Shitting on the Joker. I haven't seen that movie.
Neither have I, but I know, like, everyone's just really mean to him.
Yeah, like, I mean, he won the fight, right? Like, so I don't understand why he's, like,
He's a
being
bum.
pushed aside, right? Like, what? Okay. Rocky goes back to see Adrian at the pet store, which is about to close for the night. Rocky asks her if she wants to go see a basketball game, but she refuses the invitation. He is so smooth. He's so smooth. He then asks to walk her home, and she again turns him down. He warns her about the people walking the streets at night and suggests that she take a taxi home. Okay.
She lives here. Like...
She is a turtle. At night, she turns into a turtle, and her home is on her back. Rocky then goes to the Lucky Severn Tavern for a beer or two, where he sees his best friend and Adrian's older brother, Paulie. Cursing up a storm in the restroom after the mirror has been broken. Oh, Paulie. He meets Adrian's older Paulie while he's cursing up a storm in the restroom after the mirror has been broken. Rocky tells him about Adrian, and he shouts at Rocky that she's a loser and can't take care of herself.
Polly says this to Rocky.
Yes,
Polly is Rocky's friend, or Rocky meets Polly while trying to talk to his friends?
Okay, no. Yeah, I think his best friend is Paulie, who is Adrian's older brother. So he knows Adrian then. I just assumed she was a random person.
Okay. Maybe he didn't know that was Polly's sister. He's just like, I met this girl. And it's like, oh, my sister.
That girl, she's stupid and she can't take care of herself. She's a total loser. Paulie asks Rocky if he would like to take Adrian out on a date, since she seldom leaves their house, and Rocky agrees. That's weird. Okay. Hey, my sister's a loser. You want to go out with her?
Take her out, make her feel better. Because she's such a This is like Glass Menagerie.
What is going on? Paulie takes his beer and leaves. Rocky remains sitting at the bar drinking his own beer and watches TV and sees that the new heavyweight boxing champion of the world, Apollo Creed, is on TV. Rocky and the bartender talk about him until Rocky leaves. On his way home, Rocky notices a group of teenage kids standing on the corner drinking and smoking cigarettes and sees that one of them is Marie, an underage teen girl he knows. He pulls her out of the group and walks her home. On the way, he tells her about respect and the kind of people that she should be hanging out with. After reaching her house, she calls Rocky creepo, and he heads back home. Yeah, that's kind of creepy.
He's like... This is giving me, like, very strange vibes.
He's just, like, a weird guy. Like, he's just a sad, lonely kind of guy. He's got no friends. Everyone hates him.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks he's weird.
He seems harmless, but he's just, like, weird.
The next day in New York City, Apollo Creed and his trainer, Tony, are meeting with Miles Juergens, a fight promoter, discussing the possible fighters for him to match in the biggest fighting event set to take place on New Year's Day. When it looks like there are no possible fighters, Apollo has an epiphany. He'll take on a small-time underdog fighter, giving him a shot at the title. Everyone agrees with the idea, and the plan is set in motion.
Ooh.
Okay, so it's Paolo who's like, hey, I'll just grab somebody from the street, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, Rocky's dropped off at his house by Gazzo and Buddy after his latest collection job, and they talk about Adrian. Why is everyone talking about this girl?
I think Rocky just keeps bringing her up.
Hey,
like, so this
girl. Adrian? She works at the pet store. She likes turtles. I think she is one. Rocky wonders how they knew about him and Adrian. What's there to know? You haven't even gone out. Anyway, Gazzo mildly replies, I hear things. But he further insults Rocky by calling Adrian a retard. Jesus.
Oh.
Retards like the zoo. And Rocky attempts to lunge at him, but Gazzo separates them. Okay. He gives Rocky $50 for his date with Adrian. Before leaving, Buddy tells Rocky to take Adrian to the zoo and speeds off. First off, very rude. Not PC. Secondly, I love the zoo. I would love to go to the zoo on a date. Are you kidding me?
These people are just like... Are they making fun of Rocky because he's like dumb? Like, I don't know.
I don't know. George, I hear you. At Apollo's office, he and Tony are looking through a book of local club fighters of Philadelphia, and they come across Rocky, who seems to be the perfect fighter. Apollo takes a liking to his nickname, the Italian Stallion.
Oh, yeah.
What kind of a nickname do you think you'd have if it was like a rhyming thing?
Me?
Based on your ethnicity, yeah.
What rhymes with Korean?
Besides your name.
The Korean.
The Korean. That's true. Like, what even, like, Mexican? The Mexican, Texican. I'm not from Texas. That doesn't work.
I'll think about it.
Okay. Let me, I guess I should open that door for George. I guess I could be kind.
Okay.
Give me a hot
I'm gonna keep thinking about it.
There's so many issues on my end today. Yes, entrate. Go, come on. Okay, well, while you think about that, I'll continue.
A lot of things rhyme with Asian. Maybe I have to stick with that one.
Oh, okay. The Asian evening, the same evening. That same evening on the night of Thanksgiving, Rocky and Polly are walking home, and Polly keeps imploring Rocky to get him a job with Gazzo as a collector because he hates his current job at a meatpacking factory. They reach Polly's house where Adrian is making Thanksgiving dinner. She comes out of the kitchen to greet Polly, but doesn't realize Rocky is with him. Rocky says hello, and she walks back into the kitchen. Polly goes to talk to her, and she runs into her bedroom embarrassed. Why? He said hello to me. What? Polly gets her out and tells her to go out with Rocky for the night, but Adrian claims that it's Thanksgiving and she's cooking a turkey. Polly goes to the kitchen and grabs the turkey out of the oven and throws it out the back door. Jesus Christ.
Oh my God.
Adrian begins to cry and Polly yells at her to go out. Rocky tells him to forget the date, but Polly instructs him to go talk to her. Rocky walks over to her door and talks to her through the door, but doesn't get any feedback. He asks her if she wants to go out with him and have a good time, and she opens the door all dressed up, ready to go. She's like, I'm in, let's go, let's do this.
She's like, well, the turkey's gone, I've got nothing better to do now.
My brother's a jerk, so I might as well. On Polly's advice, Rocky and Adrian head for the local ice rink. They look around and see that it's empty, and the maintenance man tells them that the rink is closed for the night. Rocky bribes him $10, and they have the rink for themselves for 10 minutes. Damn, that's expensive. Adrian's skating as Rocky is running alongside her, telling her about the fights he's been in and how it's special to him. So she's skating, she's just like, so, let me tell you about all my fights. Oh my God. After their date, Rocky and Adrian go back to his apartment where she is hesitant about going inside. Rocky implores her that it's okay, and she follows behind him. Inside his apartment, Adrian feels uncomfortable, admitting that she's never been in a man's apartment before. Rocky admits he doesn't feel comfortable neither, and he's kind of nervous too. She wants to leave, but Rocky stops her, trying to cheer her up by giving her compliments. He tells her that she wants to kiss her, and he does, and the two end up kissing in his corner by the door, and I'm assuming they have that really long, kind of awkward kiss. The next day, Rocky heads for Mickey's gym, and Mick tells him that Jurgen's office called, possibly asking for sparring partners. Rocky says the same thing to himself, and a frustrated Mick yells at him. Rocky asks why after all this time Mick's been giving him the cold shoulder, but Mick refuses to reply. Rocky demands to know, and Mick yells at him across the gym that Rocky had the talent and the heart to be a great fighter, but instead became a leg breaker for the local loan shark and bookie Tony Gazzo. Rocky defends his occupation and that it's a living, but Mick retorts that it's a waste of life, and he again calls Rocky a bum. Okay, so people are giving him shit because he's working for that loan shark guy, basically.
Okay, that makes sense. I'd give someone shit for working for a loan shark, too.
Okay, yeah.
Not that much shit, but I would still be like,
I don't
bro,
you a bum. I would just be like, dude, what can I do to get you out of this situation?
Yeah.
Rocky goes to see Juergens and tells him that he is willing to help out with the sparring training with Creed and tells him that he'd give it his all. Juergens then offers Rocky a proposition into fighting with Creed on New Year's Day. However, Rocky declines. Juergens tells Rocky that it was him that Creed chose to fight and that it's a once-in-a-lifetime shot to win the heavyweight boxing title. Rocky takes a minute to consider it. And only a minute.
60 seconds to the dot.
Shorter. Back at Paulie's house, Rocky, Adrian, and Paulie watch a TV interview with Apollo and Rocky about the upcoming fight, and they see that Apollo's been taunting Rocky through the whole session. Paulie tells Rocky that he should break his legs and that he should be able to win the fight. Rocky says that the taunts don't bother him. Adrian tells Paulie that he has a good chance of winning. Paulie gets up and storms out of the room, cursing loudly. Why is Paulie so,
Paulie's just a dick.
He's a hot mess. Rocky gets ready to leave and Adrian follows him outside. Before leaving, Rocky admits to Adrian that the stuff that sat on TV actually hurt him inside. Well, actually, it did kind of hurt. It got me right here. The following evening, Rocky meets with Gazzo outside Pat's Steakhouse Grill where they get some steak sandwiches to eat and talk about Rocky being chosen to fight Apollo. Gazzo gives Rocky $500 for training expenses and wishes him the best. A few hours later, Mick, having heard about Rocky's shot at the title, goes to see Rocky at his apartment and he begins telling him about his old days as a featherweight fighter during the 1930s and all the injuries he endured. He tells Rocky that he wants to become a manager for him. Rocky tells him that he asked for help years ago, but Mick turned him down. A defeated Mick gets ready to leave as Rocky is sitting in his bathroom. After Mick leaves, Rocky starts shouting to Mick about his asking to help him. Mick is halfway up the street, and Rocky runs up to him and apologizes to him. You don't have to apologize to him, Mick. He should be apologizing to you.
Yeah.
Whatever.
He's using you for another shot at glory.
I know. It's all those head wounds. Why would you brag? I once got a concussion for $1 million, I don't know. Early the next morning, Rocky gets up at 4 a.m. and prepares for a morning run. He drinks a half dozen raw eggs.
Ew!
Rocky starts his run through the Philly streets and at the end attempts to run up the stairs of the Philadelphia Art Museum, but he can't reach it all the way because he's out of shape and out of breath.
Does he puke up the eggs?
And then he goes, it's just, and then he gets salmonella and he's in bed for 3 weeks.
He misses the fight.
He misses the fight.
He loses on a technicality.
Because he ate 6 raw eggs. Later, Rocky goes to see Paulie at the meat processing plant where he works. They talk about Adrian, with Paulie speaking derogatorily. Paulie speaking that way about Adrian. Asks if Rocky is sleeping with his sister. You're the one who set them up! What? Rocky becomes annoyed to the point where he admits the truth about why he can't talk to Gazzo about giving Paulie a job working for him. Paulie talks too much. Rocky says he's ready to leave because of the cold and the smell of the meat factory. A frustrated Paulie begins hitting a huge side of beef hanging from the ceiling, taunting Rocky. Rocky steps over and begins throwing punches into the meat, breaking the ribs. Paulie jokes at Rocky, saying that if he did that to Apollo Creed, he'd be put in jail for murder. Rocky takes the meat that Paulie's prepared him for the week and leaves. Okay. I was going to get into a big fight. He's like, but I still need to pay for this meat. At Paulie's apartment, Adrian cares to Rocky's cut-up hands from hitting the meat. She begins to get intimate with him, but he keeps backing her off, telling her that there's no fooling around during training. Adrian, near upset, gets up and goes to the kitchen. Rocky gets up and follows her and apologizes, and they embrace. Okay. Wow. He's even turning things down. Maybe he just got a vasectomy. They told him 3 weeks. 3 weeks!
3 weeks!
And he's only in week 1. Rocky begins training with Mick and Mike, the janitor at the gym. Two girls walk in and ask for Rocky's autograph. Mick dismisses them harshly and tells Rock that women weaken legs and to lay off the pet shop dame, Adrian. Jesus. Rocky tells him that he really likes her, and Mick shouts back at Rocky telling him to let her train him for women. Telling him to let her train him because women are a distraction to his training. Rocky takes a second and agrees with Mick and will not fool around anymore. He hasn't really been fooling around. I mean... Oh my god. Is this movie almost over? A few days later, Rocky is jogging back to his apartment building where Adrian is waiting on the steps with a surprise for him. She has purchased and given Rocky Butkus, the big bulldog mastiff from the pet shop. Rocky begins jogging around with Butkus days later.
His name is Butkus?
Butkus. Butkus. Am I...
Oh.
Am I saying it correctly?
I'm hearing butt kiss, but I don't know how else to pronounce it. Butt kiss?
Butt kiss, I guess.
Okay.
Butt kiss. Whatever. It's my Chicago accent.
The dog.
Yes. One day, Rocky and Butkus run to Polly's workplace to find a TV news van in the back. Rocky finds Polly and he tells Rocky that he needs publicity, but Rocky, now mad, wanted privacy. Rocky and Polly go inside and meet with the news reporter, and they ask Rocky for a demonstration on how he trains with the meat. He begins to jab at the meat as a news camera looks on to him. Tony, Apollo's trainer, is watching the interview and sees that Rocky means business. Look, he's punching meat. He's serious about this.
Breaking ribs.
He's breaking ribs. And then he's eating it.
And paying for it, too.
I'm paying. He's not stealing. Imagine, though, like, if he would... Like, if he had, like, a live cow, you know, that was hanging up and he was hitting it. Like... That's where my mind went.
Oh my
I'm sorry.
God. PETA is coming for this episode now.
Come at me, PETA. On Christmas Eve, Polly is walking home, clearly drunk. Rocky and Adrian are already there watching a Christmas movie on TV. They talk about Polly, about what he did with the publicity stunt back at the slaughterhouse. A drunken Polly, overhearing the conversation, enters the room and threatens the both of them to leave his house. When they refuse to leave, Polly grabs a baseball bat and threatens Rocky that he'll break both his arms. He begins swinging at a lamp and then breaks the end table next to Rocky and Adrian. Polly begins ranting that he never done anything wrong to Rocky, and he even let him go out with his sister. Polly then admits the truth about why he hates Adrian so much, and they begin smashing more things with the bat.
Why?
Yeah, Polly shouts at Adrian that she owes him, but Adrian yells back saying that it is she who takes care of Polly. Another insulting remark by Polly about Adrian sends her running to her room crying. Rocky angrily grabs Polly, ready to punch him, but he quickly realizes that Polly is too drunk and weak. Rocky lets go of Polly and walks into Adrian's room to comfort her. She asks Rocky if he'd like a roommate and that she is moving out of Polly's house.
Good for her.
What's the secret? What's the secret, though?
I think he doesn't like her because he thinks that, like, he's taking care of her and everything. But she was like, no, you depend on me, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So it's just an abusive relationship.
Yeah. I don't know why he's friends with this guy. He's such a jerk.
I think Polly's I think he's two-faced. I think he's nice-ish to Rocky, and then Rocky's finding out, no, this guy is a jerk. So he's siding more and more with Adrian than with Polly.
A couple of days later, Rocky's at the gym, training again with Mick and Mike. After the session, Mick introduces Rocky to their cutman, Al Silvani. Rocky gets out of the ring as Mick and Al talk, and he begins hitting a heavy bag. Paulie walks in and offers Rocky an advertising job for him. Rocky tells him he can make money off his name. Do it. The famous montage of the movie starts. Thank you. With Rocky running around Philadelphia. Then in the gym, hitting a speed bag, doing push-ups and sit-ups. Then the meat factory as Rocky hits the meat once more. Sing through the theme. Rocky then runs up the stairs of the art museum, and this time he is able to make it all the way to the top. He's swinging his arms in the air. The next night, Rocky and Adrian are in bed at his apartment. Ooh. Rocky can't sleep. He gets out of bed, puts his coat on, and walks to the Spectrum Arena. Rocky stands in the center of the ring and looks around to see that the place is well decorated and ready for the fight. Jurgen shows up and Rocky tells him how the stripes on his shorts are wrong in the giant painting of him, but Jurgen dismisses it, saying he believes Rocky is going to give the world an incredible show. Rocky goes back home as Adrian slowly awakes as Rocky lays down on the bed upset. He tells her that he won't be able to beat Apollo and how no one has ever gone the distance with him before. New Year...
See, it's Hercules.
The distance. Yeah.
Hercules.
Wait a minute. I can go the distance. New Year's Day, 1976. On the night of the fight, Rocky and Apollo are both getting prepared. When Rocky gets the cue that it's time, he leaves Adrian down at the locker room and she wishes him good luck. Rocky starts making his way towards the ring as some of the crowd cheers for him. Among the courtside crowd is Paulie with a call girl, as well as Gaza with another woman at his side. When he reaches the ring, Rocky, Mick, and Mike watch as Apollo comes out dressed like George Washington as a dedication to the American Bicentennial. He reaches the ring and dons an Uncle Sam hat. Both fighters receive instructions and rules for the fight. You didn't need to open the door like that, George. You didn't need to do that, Papa. He just ran away. Both fighters receive instructions and rules for the fight. They return to their corners and wait for the bell. The fight begins, and Apollo begins throwing punches at Rocky, but most of them miss. The fight begins, and Apollo apparently isn't taking the fight seriously as he begins to throw a haymaker at Rocky, but he dodges it and swings at Apollo, knocking him down. The crowd goes wild, and Apollo gets back up and the fight continues with the two of them throwing punches at each other and dodging most of them. As the rounds progress, both Rocky and Apollo become increasingly cut up and bruised. Rocky's right eye is so swollen he can't open it. Some would argue he really couldn't open his eyes to begin with. Apollo is getting tired and hurt badly with Rocky throwing punches to the body. At round 14, Apollo finally knocks Rocky down and Mick instructs him to stay down until the count is up. Adrian comes out of the locker room and watches the ring and believes in Rocky and hopes he'll get up. Rocky gets back up and Apollo, dancing around the ring, sees with distress that Rocky is standing and wants more. Apollo, now exhausted, throws a punch at Rocky, but Rocky ducks and jabs him twice in the right chest, breaking his ribs. The bell rings, signaling the end of the round, and the fighters are brought back to their corners. Rocky claims he can't see anything and tells Mick to cut him in order to open his eye.
Ew.
The bell for the 15th and final round rings, and Rocky and Apollo take their time until Apollo tags Rocky in the face. Rocky moves in as Apollo is now protecting the right side of his ribs. More punches to the face occur on both of them until Rocky gets the last 10 seconds of the round and beats Apollo senseless, pinning him to the ropes. By this time, the whole crowd is cheering Rocky. The whole crowd is cheering Rocky on by chanting his name over and over. The bell rings, signaling the end of the fight. Apollo tells Rocky that there won't be a rematch, and Rocky responds that he doesn't want one. The ring is stormed by reporters and both the fighters' managers. A reporter asks Rocky questions about the fight as Rocky shouts for Adrian. Adrian! While Adrian makes her way to the ring, Jurgens announces that the fight came out to be a draw, and it was a split decision on who won. Apollo is allowed to retain his status as the heavyweight champion and technically wins by default. A blinded Rocky doesn't seem to hear or be bothered by the result of the fight as he continues to shout for Adrian. Adrian makes it to ringside to see Paulie being restrained from entering the ring. Adrian sneaks in and runs to Rocky. The two embrace and declare their love for each other. The end.
The end.
The end. So, what do you think?
I feel like I can't, hearing it said out like that, I'm like, this movie is a mess. But so many people really like this movie, and I've seen a lot of people whose opinions I respect speak very highly of this movie. of the character development and like all this analysis and whatever of this movie, and I'm like, okay, something must be lost in translation here. I'm gonna have to like just watch it. Like I've seen a take comparing Apollo Creed and Rocky, and that Rocky is not like very well spoken or anything, but he has a lot of emotional intelligence, which I do think we kind of see in how he treats Adrian. Like, I know it's very
Mm-hmm.
clunky in the beginning, but like he apologizes to her. He seems to make an effort, like, with her, right? He likes her a lot. He cares about her feelings, kind of thing. He's willing to like admit when he's scared, which is like kind of surprising for a guy, right? Or he's willing to admit like that did hurt my feelings, or this does make me feel upset, right? He talks about his feelings. And I think with Apollo Creed is like very smart, very well spoken, but he's like a bit colder inside, like not as emotionally intelligent as Rocky, so they make a good foil dichotomy, I guess. Like I think that's what makes the tension worthwhile watching. This is what I saw somebody say. So I am assuming there is more involved between them in like later movies where we see more about Apollo.
Uh-huh.
But so I'm like, okay, there's that, and there must be other things too. Like a lot of people are like, I just like Rocky's just this every guy, and I can see the appeal because it's like this every guy who just gets shat on
Uh-huh.
constantly, and you're like, damn, like why?
Like, why can't he catch a break, right? Like,
Yeah, exactly. And but even though he's like constantly being like shat on and everything, I can't catch a break, he still like seems to hold on to his principles, and he still seems to be like a good guy. Like he could beat the fuck up out of Polly, but he's like, no, like this isn't
mm-hmm.
fair. You're drunk, you're upset, like no, I'm just gonna move your sister out. Um kind of thing. It's like a Cinderella story but for men. Which is what Hercules is, basically. Hercules is Cinderella but a guy. Um
Hercules is such a good movie.
I know.
And that soundtrack slaps.
I know. It's oh my god, I love the character of Hercules. He's so earnest and sweet.
He's so cute. He's the literal himbo, like the literal definition of a himbo.
Yes, he's just
Him
so...
and Kronk, like
yeah. They're just so like nice and good-hearted, and like
I love when he fights that weird centaur guy.
oh yeah.
He's so dumb. He's like, "Are you in trouble? Like, what do I do when the girl doesn't want to be saved? Like, we didn't cover this in training.
Aren't you
Phil,
a
we
damsel
didn't
in
cover this
distress?
in training. I'm a damsel. I'm in distress.
I can handle this. Have a nice day." He like walks over and he's like, "I'm afraid I'm gonna have to." And he's like doing like all this formality protocol thing. Use your
Sir?
head.
He's so dumb. He
like clears
so
his throat to be like, "Sir." Yeah.
I like how he doesn't know how to refer to him because he is like a weird centaur guy.
Yeah.
He's like, again, not covered in training.
He like checks under to be like,
What is he?
Sir. Yeah. I'm like interested in the movie, but I'm also not interested in the movie. I feel like I can't I can't like speak on it. Like there are some movies where I'm like, no, I don't want to watch this, or no, I'm not gonna like it because of this. But this movie, I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah. I might watch it. It definitely seems like a background movie. Like I don't know how into it I'll be.
Mhm.
I still kind of want to see because I'm just like, what's the hype? Like, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone loves the movie. And he just seemed kind of, I guess, dumb in a way.
Yeah.
Which was kind of annoying because I was like, I never really thought about it, you know?
Yeah.
But again, he, like, maneuvers the world kind of well. Like, so it's like he clearly isn't, like, dumb. It's just, maybe he's just not good with people. Like, I don't.
Yeah. He seems just like a awkward guy who is physically fit.
Yeah. And even then he isn't because he can't even run up the
Yeah.
steps to the thing.
He's just like an every guy, but like a bit lower than an every guy, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think Polly is friends with Rocky. Like I think Rocky just doesn't have any friends, but Polly likes Rocky because he can kind of boss Rocky around.
Uh-huh.
I think that's the dichotomy. And then as Rocky becomes more and more confident in himself, then Polly starts to like lose control of it, and that's where he like kind of snaps because he clearly controls his sister. So
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if I was gonna watch it, I would be interested in the character studies because I do feel like this movie seems to be filled with character studies. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it does seem, even though it's a sports movie, it seems to be very focused on the characters and like these characters are complicated and have reasons for why they are the way they are, kind of, which reminds me of like good Broadway plays and musicals, right? Where it's like, okay, like you're all messes, but I can see and understand or empathize to some degree why you are the way you are, and it's creating all these conflicts because of your personalities or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like if I was gonna watch Rocky, it would be through that lens and to be like, what kind of emotional journey is it going to take me on? Am I going to fall into it or am I going to be like really critical the whole time? So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Fun facts? You want some fun facts?
Would love some fun facts.
Okay, fun fact number 1. The dog Buttkiss is actually Sylvester Stallone's dog in real life.
Aww, it's a chunky dog. I
Big,
love that dog.
big boy dog.
It's a solid dog.
Another fun fact.
Oh, he's holding your
He
hand.
does that, I know.
Emma's cat does that too. I think it's so cute.
Yeah, he likes to put his hand on me. Sometimes he'll just put on my leg or my hand. The other day, it was pretty hot. I was wearing shorts and, like, obviously I was on my bed. I didn't have any shoes on. And he, like, we literally had our feet entwined. It was, like, his paws on my feet. I took a picture. I'll send it to you.
I can't get over this. He's like, yeah. Some cats don't like their hands being pet, but he's like, no, I want you to hold my hand.
Yeah, I want you to hold my hand. I know.
Oh my god.
And sometimes he'll be like, he'll grab the other hand, like, why? Like, why is one hand on me and the other hand isn't on me? He's very loving.
He's too much. Oh my god. Oh my goodness. I can't handle this. It's cute.
I can't handle my cat being so adorable.
Oh
Everyone is like, what are they losing their shit over? Okay, Sylvester Stallone quit smoking while making the film because he kept getting out of breath.
Didn't Sylvester Stallone? He was like really involved in this movie.
I know he wrote the movie.
He wrote the movie.
I think he was also a producer.
Yeah, I think he wrote the movie and he produced it. He went to like everybody with this story.
Yeah.
So.
He was inspired by a fight between Chuck Wepner and Muhammad Ali.
Well, there we go.
Where Wepner was like a moderate talent and no one thought he would last like 3 rounds.
Mm-hmm.
But they made all the way to like the 15th and final round. And then Muhammad Ali won on like a technical knockout.
I see.
So.
Okay. I guess that colors why the races are the way they are.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a bit like it's less malicious, obviously, but it's
like
still
like intentionally malicious. Right?
Yes,
like,
it's less
not
intentionally malicious because this is based on like an actual fight with these actual right. But it's still, I think it is still valid to be like, okay, well, Hollywood still made this movie, and this movie was so well received. Why might that be, right? And I think there are certain undercurrents and optics that do need to be considered for that, right? Like, it got so many sequels. It was such a huge success. I don't know if they knew making the movie that it would be a success, but the movie still adds to, right, like, how the country is set up, which is, I feel like that is part of, big or smaller, however, I think it is still part of its huge impact and well reception, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Okay, another fun fact. The ice rink scene was originally written to feature 300 extras. But the production couldn't afford so many people, so when they turned up to shoot the scene, there was only one extra there.
So that was like the janitor
So
they
Stallone
brought.
had to throw together the scene as it is in the movie now.
I think it's cuter in the
Yeah,
movie.
the scene is becoming the most popular in the entire Rocky saga.
Yeah.
Let's see what else. It was the first sports film to win an Academy Award for Best Picture.
Mm-hmm. I forgot it won Best Picture.
Okay, Rocky is not the character's actual name.
Oh.
His real name is Robert Balboa.
Oh, that's boring.
Yes, which is why his nickname is Rocky.
Yeah, Rocky is more fun.
Okay, I'm gonna give you one last fun fact. This is the best fun fact. After the end of the filming, Stallone kept the two turtles, Cuff and Link. And as of June 2019, he still had them alive and well.
Oh, he's taking care of them. Okay, but like in his apartment, they were in like this rinky-dinky little tank that was like way too small for them. So
well, I'm sure that once Sylvester Stallone became very rich, he got him an entire
like an ecosystem. Okay,
pond.
that's cute. Turtles live for a very long time.
I know.
So.
I know.
Yeah. Are they turtles or tortoises?
It said turtles.
Oh, okay, but some people don't. Like they just write whatever.
Oh, well, I don't know. I don't. Do you want me to like slide into his DMs and be like, are they turtles or tortoises?
Well, even turtles live for a long time. They hit like 50, 80 years.
I think turtles can even live to like 100.
Okay. They'll just they'll keep going. They'll keep going. So
it's like what is it, the lobster that says lobsters die because they get stuck in their shell, right? All we have to do is just keep building it like a new shell, and it'll live forever. Wasn't that dumb little meme thing?
Oh, they're like turtles. I don't think I've seen the one you're talking
about. You haven't seen that? It's like the lobster thing.
Anyway. Oh, they got so big.
You looking them up?
Oh, I'm gonna send you a picture.
Okay.
Oh. Okay, but like Stallone, I think came out as an anti-vaxxer, so.
No one is out here praising Stallone.
Yeah.
You know, they keep sending pictures of their cats in this chat. I should just send one, but I don't want to be that person.
You might as well be. Like, most of the people in the chat are that people. I just
think it's annoying because they keep sending. It's like too many. Like, I just...
Oh, really?
One is fine, but I get annoyed. Still pals with turtles from original Rocky. They are big.
Right? Look how big they got.
They're like moderately sized. That's cute.
That's cute. He's got like
they were so little.
I know.
And he's so big that like they look so funny.
With their nice little cage. It's like set up like an aquarium in his little house. He's got the little lights. Oh, okay. They've got like a nice setup there. It's like open air and everything. I actually I don't mind the number of cat pics in that chat. Like, I cannot get enough of Emma's cat. the selfie she took through the ring. Because she has, like, a camera in her apartment so she can watch the cat. She took a selfie with the cat on her cat is also very affectionate. Helga's so little.
Well, she's still a kitten. She's a young kitten, too. Because I know that your sister's kitten is a little bit older, right?
I think so. All these cats are around the same age, though. How old is George?
He's like a year and a half.
Oh, George is older, yeah.
Yeah, his birthday is August 12th, his second birthday.
Okay.
Will you come to my, now that I've just decided, virtual birthday party?
Yes. Wait, August 12th? He's a Leo.
He's a Leo.
His birthday is 3 days before Jesse's.
Wow.
That's cute. Yeah, Helga's birthday is in October. I don't know when Kamjo's birthday is. And then Water is March. I don't remember Beaker's.
Beaker isn't worth remembering. Okay, anyway, we're talking about a movie.
We're talking about Rocky. All right, what would you rate this movie? And would you watch it?
I'd probably watch it. I think it, like, getting the synopsis has taken sort of the fear of, like, all the horrible things that might happen. You know? Because I hate that. I hate when I'm like, oh, I hope this, I don't want to know how's it gonna, you know?
You can prepare yourself for the
I can
secondhand
prepare
embarrassment now, too. So
yeah, because I feel like it was just like, he's kind of weird, and I'm just kind of embarrassed by both him and Adrian and Paulie, and, like,
yeah.
But yeah, I don't know, 3 out of 5?
Yeah, I'd give it a 3 out of 5. I feel like I'd have to watch it. I don't know when I'm gonna watch it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not opposed to watching it though. Maybe like on a long airplane.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to watching it either.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Great.
Nice. All right. If you, the listener, have seen Rocky or any of the subsequent Rocky films or Creed, let us know which one is your favorite.
Also, let us know if you also think that Rocky is a white propaganda movie.
Yeah, let us know about that too. Unintentionally or otherwise. Yeah. Thoughts on that? Unless you're gonna be racist, then no thank you. Monze, where can they find us?
You can find us at Don't Watch Movies on Twitter. Nailed it, first try. You can find me at Magic Monster. I forgot also on Twitter.
You can find me at Karina's Korean on Twitter. And that's the episode. So we'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.